Tai Chi walk now, okay? Going back a little bit, watching for where we're gonna be ending up, okay? Hands at your waist, stretch out your spine, then drop your shoulders. Here we go. Pivot out, walk in that zigzag direction on your heel, round the crotch, turn the hips and waist, flatten down. Sit back, sit down, zigzag out, shift your weight, out on the heel, round the crotch, flatten down, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, L stance, round the crotch, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, shift weight, bow the legs down, getting ready to hold your ball. Sit back, sit down, hold your ball in a T stance, out on an L, part the wild horse's mane. How's your hands getting out there? Make sure the hips and waist are used. Sit back, sit down, pivot out on an L, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, shift your weight, L stance, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Half step forward, hold the ball, spin it as you watch your right hand being elevated onto the toe, lift it off the ground, point it out. White crane spreads its wings. Drop your front foot, tuck that elbow in as you bisect to your danten, swirl back, look at the right hand is higher, lift up the front foot, place it on its heel, brush knee one. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, center with the parallel or higher, glance at the back hand, brush knee two. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, right hand higher, brush knee, hands go for the ride. Half step forward, sit back, rock the front foot to its toe, lift up, place it to its heel. Play your lute. Drop your front foot, center your front hand, glance at the back hand that's higher, lift up, lead with your toe, stretch out, heel, pivot to the front as you meet, slide forward, slide back. Center, lead with your toe, glance, lift up, stretch out, heel, pivot, slide. Center, higher, glance, lead with your toe, lift up, stretch out, heel, pivot, slide. This is our last one, so we're going to modify that foot that comes back, our right foot. Here we go. Lift up, ear, twist to make that foot parallel to the line or on the line. Hold your ball in a T stance. We're going to ward off like last week's lesson. Out on an L, move that ball, round the crotch, push by forearming. Turn the hips and waist, reposition the hands. How do the hands go for the ride? Leave them there as you pull back. Turn at the hips and waist, sit back. Contact, turn at the hips and waist, push the energy, separate your hands, roll back, sit down. Spiral up, then forward. Other side, sit back, twist, round with a ball and a T, out on an L, ward off. Pause, turn hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail, look back, contact, turn at the hips and waist, center push out, separate and roll back, sit down, up, lunge forward all together. Sit back, sit down, twist, cup, twist out to the 9, come back to the 12 stem cup, look at the 3 and hook, T, out across your face, L, single whip. Today's lesson, okay? All right, going back to your original home and going to our left, okay? Still warming up. This time we'll get in commencing form, okay? Good Tai Chi posture, let your hands go for the ride, okay? Repeat those words to yourself. Hands go for the ride because we know how to do Tai Chi correctly. Shift weight to the right, heel comes up on your toe, off the ground, toe, arch, heel, rotate. Take a deep breath in as we elevate. Release, flex. Hold your ball without bringing up your shoulder, out on an L, round the crotch, part the wild horse's mane. Nice and soft, nice and round. Sit back, twist, center, L, second parting of the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, shift, L, turn the hips and waist, final parting of the wild horse's mane. Half step forward, spin the ball, elevate that right as you want, and your toe on the front, set it down, white crane, spreads its wings. Drop your front foot, bisect by tucking that elbow in, swirling back, looking at the back, lift up the front, set it down on its heel. As your hands go for the ride to brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, brush, knee, 2. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, parallel higher, all together, hands go for the ride, final. Half step, sit back, rock the front, place it on its heel, play your lute. Drop your front foot, center, glance, lead with your toe up, stretch, heel, pivot, slide, repulse 1. Center, glance on the toe of the front, lift, ear, heel, pivot, slide, center, higher, glance, lead with the toe, stretch it out, heel, pivot. 3, don't forget to modify, lead with your toe, modify that foot, slide. Hold your ball in a T-stance. We're going to ward off. Out and to the side, round the crotch, push that energy out. Turn the hips and waist, reposition hands, hands go for the ride. We're forcing our core to do the work for us, using our hips and waist to power our upper body, using our mind to implement whatever we want our body to do, which is the training and the drill and the demos that you've been watching and the audio that you've been listening to. Sit back, sit down, come up, lunge forward together. New lesson. Sit back, sit down, pivot, 12 o'clock, pivot out, 9 o'clock, close the foot, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, hook, left hand across the face, comes out at the same time you do a single whip. Going to go over all of it first and then we'll break it down. Sit back, sit down, pivot, 12 o'clock cup, 3 o'clock. Hands are ready for cloud hands. 12 o'clock cup, out to the 9 o'clock, flip the hands, close the feet. Use your hips and waist to make your numbers of the clock be addressed by the hands. 3 o'clock. Use your hips and waist. If your hips and waist do not move, your hands and upper body cannot move or should not move. Last one, so now we're going to hook again. Form the T with your left foot. The left hand comes across the face. You're going to step out and you're going to turn your wrists so that now your palms are facing outwards as you do the final single whip. Half step, sit back, hands go for the ride. As soon as you press down on your back foot, you lift up the front foot and you come up the horse's mane as the left hand comes to your hips. You cross at your wrist, palms are down, you step out with your left heel, you gather the energy closer to your danten, right hand on the outside, right foot coming up, kick out. In, drop gently on your heel, and you're going to punch your opponent in his ears. But after that, you're going to slightly turn your wrist closer to his ears, as if to say, one final cinching down. Okay, and we'll talk about it. Sit back, sit down, pivot all the way around, left hand on the outside, left foot coming up, kick out, left. Okay.